Today is going to be fun because we spent some time. It's going to be very interactive today. You're going to get Margaret, you're going to get me, you're going to get Judy, and we'll probably entice Sister Kieran to come do a little bit of talking. So you're going to get all four of us. And the first thing we're going to do is the first session this morning is Churning and Facilitating. So Judy's going to lead the way on that. And then we'll have our tea break. And hopefully you guys are staying warm. I see lots of blankets, layers. I know I went and put another layer on. So, the power within, right? To overcome. So good job. So we're going to have some fun with the powers today too. And then for our practicum facilitation, we are all going to stay here. Okay, so no going off into the cold, so no fretting about that. So you can just put that out of your mind. We brainstormed a new way of doing the practicum today. So you guys get to have some fun. And then lastly, this evening after dinner, Margaret is going to play some games with us. And this one I've done many times and I never get tired of it. We are going to have fun. So my question to you throughout the day is, how soul conscious can you be? Okay? Oh, yeah. So for our 7 o'clock meditation, we are going to be in the Aviact room, and we are already on the heat thing, because I know the question is going to be, it's cold in there. What are we doing about the heat? So we're going to have it set up. We're going to have the heat going, so it'll be as comfortable as we can make it. And then we will come back here for the evening session, okay? So 7 o'clock meditation out Aviact room. 7:30 interactive learning. Okay? It was, and Denise, Sister Denise was over there last night and she said they were able to warm it up. So it gets quite nice. So that's reassuring.
Sister Judy, is there any kind of feedback?
Is
Sharing how we Monday morning.
Yeah. Okay. I'll turn it over to Judy.
Thank you, MJ. Om Shanti, everyone. A public apology on behalf of all Canadians that we brought Canada weather here to Texas. I thought this was a hot place, and I did not come prepared. Had I known it was like Canada, I would know what to do. So, very sorry to all the Americans in the room that we have done that. Right, Denise? Right, MJ? Right, Palma? So, unusual weather. This is because it's going to all be cleared before we see Dharam Raj, right? So you get a bunch of Brahmins together in a place, what happens? The weather changes, amongst other things. Right? We change, so it's wonderful. So how is everyone? Good? Happy? Day 3, ready? Yes. Enthusiastic? Yes. I can see it, really. It's been just a delight so far to be together and learn together. And I think this is the kind of energy we want to create in our centers. Right? So every student that comes, they end up leaving with the same sparkle, like, oh, I want to come back, that was fun. Or that was interesting, or, So we're creating, because we're all learning together, and because it's new, and it's interesting, and we're all engaged, it's very hard to get bored or passive. And passive, I think, is another word for kumbhakarna. Yeah? Well, no, but even as Brahmins, our intellects can become passive, right? We get into a rote and a routine, And I don't know about you, but over the 25 years, I don't know how many times, for me in relation to Murli, I love Murli. I've never missed a day of Murli. But when I check my intellect, there are phases when I'm a bit duller. I'm getting less from the Murli. And there are phases where I'm like singing and dancing in my intellect, you know, every word of the Murli. So, you know, we have to be watchful as well, that we're very attentive to keeping ourselves engaged. And if we're engaged, we'll be able to engage others. So I had the fortune of having no Brahmin company for the first 11 years of my Brahmin life. And as Daddy Janki said, you have to create your own company. So therefore, creating all these activities to get people to come and have fun, creating daily thoughts to send to some unknown world, because I had no one to churn with. So churning Murli, and actually Nikki from Vancouver had asked me to write daily thoughts for Jordan, because she was serving in Jordan in the Gulf, the Middle East at that time, and she said it has to come directly from Murli, but you can't say soul or God. It was fantastic churning for me to take Baba's Murli and translate it for a Muslim, Arab, a different culture, different religion, different part of the world, in such clean language that anybody could understand it but still get the Murli points. Brilliant. It was really a gift of drama and Baba, and that kept me company for the first 11 years. So, you know.
And I use it every day.
Yeah. They're so good, aren't they?
Everything.
They're really good. I know. They're really good. They get better too. So, yeah, only Lokik. The churning group in Halifax, the morning students, the reason I have my phone out all the time in Murli is I catch the brilliance of everyone's churning and turn it into daily thoughts. So my job has become quite easy. I just craft them now, but I used to have to generate them before. So all of this is about sustaining ourselves, and it's one of the 16 celestial arts, is the art of moving forward, the art of progressing, the art of never getting tired and bored on our spiritual journey. So what we're experiencing here, we hope to create for others, right? Good? Yeah, okay. So today we're going to look at Murli churning, because it's our lifeblood. It's our sanjivani, right? It's our life-giving herb, is Murli, knowledge. And so how we churn it really matters. And in a passive learning situation, the teacher is brilliant. The teacher churns and shares all their churning with the class, and the class gives their points. And Baba talks about pigeons, right? And then he talks about parrots. What are parrots? They just repeat the points. Yeah. None of that is churning. And Baba's taught us how to churn. If I have it with me, I'll give it to you, but I've got the reference. It's January 1988. He has a whole Murli on how to churn Murli. So today we're going to look at how to churn. And I'm going to ask you some questions. Oh yeah, you know what? We have breaks. I was just told. We have breaks on this thing. I'm going to ask you some questions about your relationship with Murli and how you go about listening to Murli. And as a result of those questions, we will know more, you will know more about your approach as a learner. Okay, so Margaret's already introduced the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic, but there are inside styles as well, the sanskaras we have developed over time in relation to learning. And we bring those sanskaras to Baba's university. And so we're all different learners. Typically, we teach the way we learn. So if I have a particular learning style, that's typically how I'm going to teach. But I may forget that the people in the group have different learning styles and wonder why they're not thrilled with my teaching approach. Because it doesn't really work for them, because they learn differently, right? So it's just subtle things, and it's an awareness thing, okay? So if I can ask someone to blow out that candle and put it on the ledge back there, we're going to need the middle of this room and to move the table. So first question, I'm going to ask you to think about how you listen to Murli. And some of you I know have done this before, but many have not. So here we go. When you listen to Murli, are you listening through your heart? Listening through feelings, listening through love? Or are you listening for those brilliant ideas and concepts and understandings that Baba is offering? And of course, we do both, but this is a forced choice exercise. So I'm going to force you to choose. I'm going to ask you to imagine a continuum, like a line on the floor, right here, down the middle of this room. And on this end here, heart, and on that end down there, intellect. And I'm going to ask you to, in a minute, to stand up and place yourself somewhere along this continuum, but not in the middle. Because it's a forced choice. You can't say, oh, I'm both. Okay, because of course we are, but you have a tendency. So just check yourself very carefully. Are you listening through the feelings? Or are you listening through the ideas and the understandings and the concepts? Okay? All right. Up you get. Place yourself somewhere on this continuum, except in the middle. So heart's over there. And you might be extreme heart, so way at the very end, or you might be close, somewhere here. It's a continuum. Intellect's over here. And it could be extreme, like mostly and only intellect, way back there, somewhat intellect, and only a little bit intellect. So somewhere on this continuum. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's like a 50-50. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Irene, where are you? Heart. Heart. Okay. So hearts, stay over there on your side, please. Stay over there on your side. Okay, and intellect's over here. So just look across the room. You know each other a little bit. Does that seem right? Okay. All right. Now I'd like you to turn to someone standing next to you and just find out why did they place themselves here. Okay, so why did you place yourself there? Just twos. If the group's too large, we don't have time for everyone to share. So just in pairs. Turn to one person. Or three. It's okay. Three's okay, but not four. Three's okay. Okay. Three's okay. Join in.
I've been working at the intellect all the time.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Okay, so let's hear three from each of the hearts and three from the intellects so we can understand each other better. So to explain to us, how is it for those that listen through the heart? What is it? Tell us about that. Three people.
For me, Murli is just like lifeline. Like every night I get excited, oh, what's Baba told me morning? Like, so the one reason to get up early in the morning and listen to the class. And I really like listening in the class, although I can read, but I love listening in the class because it's the love I can feel that Baba is giving me. So it's just excitement. But Baba said,
it's my oxygen. If I don't listen to Murli, I go breathless, like that. I get choked up. So there are days when you have to be someplace very early and you start driving, and then even if I'm late for a meeting, I need to take a sneak peek. Okay, few words at least, otherwise I'll go crazy.
For me, Baba's Murli is like a love letter. Just the way Baba starts the Murli itself, sweet children, it just does something to the heart and you just feel instantly so connected. And there are times when you're feeling low, your stage is low, but Baba says something in the Murli which is so special and it's just what you needed that day, and it gives you that boost to come back again on track. So definitely the feelings.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's hear 3 from the intellect side. Explain to us what it's like for you.
Om Shanti. For me, Murli is like that medicine. It started off, that's why I put myself here, because it's the concepts, the ideas, the methods that he teaches through the Murli. That's what kind of intrigued and inspired me to kind of keep it going and get more and more. And in this process, I just started to fall in love with me and fall in love with him. And so that's why I'm here in the borderline between the intellect and the close to the heart. So.
I would say I'm in the middle, and I think it's what it is that the clarity comes and the intellect opens, and then it really touches the heart. And I feel like for me it's like listening to the Murli, then reviewing it, it creates a wholeness to hold the whole Murli. And so, that's so beautiful. Okay. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, for me, actually, whenever it is really going on too much in my life, so I feel like Murli is the solution. So that's the reason I take it Murli as a guide, kind of. So that's the reason it is intellect for me. Yeah.
she's right here.
Yeah. We're all in transition.
Yeah, we are.
Well, you probably wouldn't believe this, but when I started listening to the Murli, I didn't get any of it for a long time. Actually, it was when I started reading the Murli that I started to get it. Yeah. So it's been a real process of opening up the intellect and engaging with the intellect. I mean, the love was always there. So that was kind of a given, but the churning and the intellect has been a much more recent development. So I
We have to be balanced in both. Because if it's all heart and gushy, it needs... What are you? Oh, they want to hear what... Okay, so I would say it's about balance. Because I love it when Baba says, okay, swing in the swing of love, but you have to do this and that and that. And I really love that in the Murlis when Baba gives it really clearly, the steps. So I think that's why I would put myself on this side, because it's the kind of methodology behind something, but it's not that I don't love God or anything. Yeah.
I was pretty much going to say what Sister Margaret was saying, and it's just my brain understands it better with the methodology, and I feel like, okay, if I can understand the steps Baba's giving me, then I can follow his Srimad better. So it's all out of love for Baba, but my brain just does it differently. So.
Okay, so there's no better or worse. It's just an entry point, right? For some, understanding and clarity first, and then heart, and then for others it's heart and the feeling opens to understand. It's just different, right? Okay? All right. Mary Jean, where would you put yourself?
I am in the middle, but honestly, it's the heart. And I just had a wonderful experience from the first time Gyan was given to me. It was in Sister Kieran and Sister Aruna came to my little town and gave me the course over 2 weekends. And it was my heart that sang immediately. And so through Murli, I feel like it's a dance. It's like a creative dance. I picture things. I sometimes I don't picture anything, but I just feel like the heart is singing. And I have to work at, like I listen to Sister Margaret, and I often, sometimes if I need to get more intellectual about things, I think, oh yeah, I remember Sister Margaret saying this. And Kieran Ben, although she's over there, I see her as balanced, and she's my instrument, my Murli Dhar, and she's very heart-driven, but has so much of Baba's knowledge. So it's that combination.
Thank you, MJ. Okay, so I'm going to give you another continuum now. I'll tell you after. How's that? Another continuum now, but it would go the other way and we don't have room. So let's just imagine this continuum is now the sideways continuum, okay? And I'm going to give you two other options. So when Murli is done, you leave Murli class and you go into your day. What do you do with the Murli? So some of us, like immediately, like we make a plan, how am I going to put this into practical action? I've got 6 blessings from today, 4 daily thoughts. I've got a title for the new program we're going to do, and I know what decision to make about, whatever. So we got that, Murli, and then we have those who leave Murli thinking, wow, that's just a beautiful point, and I'm going to reflect on that all day. Why are you laughing? You can relate. Okay. All right. So those that are in the, I'm just internally, I'm going to reflect on that. I'm going to hold. Of course, we all do both. But it's more your tendency in a learning situation, and Murli is our learning situation. So those who would say, I like the reflective, I really like to hold and reflect over here. And those who would say, I want to do something practical with it, down at that end. Okay, so hands there, reflection here, and no one in the middle. No one in the middle. Here's the middle. Here's the middle.
Close to the middle.
Close to the middle.
Last time I should have been close to the middle.
You should have been close. Okay. All right, so over here we have hands.
For service or for self?
Either. It's the doing, not the for whom. Doing, okay. The doing, the reflecting. Okay, look across at each other. This is the doing gang. This is the reflecting gang. Of course, the reflectors do, and the doers reflect. But this is your approach, your natural approach at this time, your developed, conditioned approach to learning over time. Okay, so again, turn to one other person and find out why did they put themselves on this side of the line, and how deep. This one's deep. She's deep.
Yeah, a little independent. Yeah, it's gonna go.
Reflective a little bit. I love that. Okay. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Okay, so are you discovering others like yourself? Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Okay, let's hear, and we have quite a few more on the reflective side of the room, don't we? So let's hear 3 or 4 reflective, and from others who hadn't spoken yet. Okay, this sister here has something to share.
The Murli is reflecting after I read the Murli, and I teach them, so make a picture also. Sometimes words by reflecting in my intellect go with the body's actions. Today is like a avyakta isaras means cloth. Baba says changing the clothes so easily, become an angel. And I remember today when Blessings is reading, I remember Dadi Guljar. And Dadi Guljar is one time came in San Francisco, and she asking what is the Brahman's tea. And no one answered that, and then says, purity, royalty. So today's is blessing, I remember that is. So automatically reflect to that all the words and morally. And when I go out today, first I get the soul's food, then going for body food. And outside I see swing, Baba giving me so sing. So first word, pa 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 pa. परम पिता परमात्मा प्यार के झूले में झूलाता है प्यार से.
So 2 or 3 others in the reflective group. Thank you.
The way I like to reflect is take one point from the Murli, which hits me, or based on the situation in that phase, or based on that time, and then just try to imbibe that one point for that whole day. Just maybe give the blessing, so that they'll just make sure that every soul I see, I give them blessing, either mentally or verbally. And the other way I like to reflect is take one theme or one point or one aspect of the Murli, and then scan through all the Murlis, all the Sakar and Avyakta Murlis on that one particular point or theme, and then just connect all the dots. So that's a very beautiful way of...
Okay, thank you, brother. One other? Somebody else in this group, the reflector group?
I really like, yes, Sakar Murli is the seed, and I definitely like the dharana points and reflect on that. Mostly the Avyakta Murlis, I think for one Avyakta Murli goes on the whole week. because it's so much to reflect on. And every time I feel like, oh, this point, it looks like new to me, and it goes on and have one point and then reflect and then try to throughout the day, and if any situations or anything I face, and then I try to implement while churning this kind of, it stays the whole day, and while churning, reflecting, and it helps in using it as practically as well. And so every point, the whole, and sometimes I feel that it's not enough, because there's so much, that to really reflect on. I enjoy doing that, yes. And apart from that, I do not want to neglect the Sakar Muli, especially when Baba talks about soul consciousness and about talking about the soul and Baba's attributes. That really touched my heart. And every time Baba says about his attributes, qualities, and that really touched that, Baba is talking about me. So I like to really, carry that energy with me.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. All right, let's hear 3 from the let's do it side.
Actually, Murli is my breath and it has kept me going. So I'm very excited about this topic, and especially about Murli churning, because how I do, like I listen from heart. I was on other side. So, but at the same time, the focus is really work on myself and getting better. And I think Baba gives that method in Sakar Murli, in Avyakt Murli. The practice which I do I work on the notes on Monday or for Sunday Murli. So I'm an artist. I create a picture which has all the points, and also creating like a embodiment that what Baba is saying I'm already is that, and I write it down, and that is for my self practice, and I put it on my wall throughout the week so that I can whatever I know we all are working. And the other way, which I think I create small. Yeah, and sometime in Sakar Murli mostly something really touches my heart. I create a video, like a small video. Actually, this is all for myself, and sometimes I share, and other people also get benefited. Thank you.
How do we get on the list? Okay. Did I? That was you? Okay. More, please. Okay. Okay, 2 others in this group. The doing.
So, as everyone says, that Murli is really oxygen for us. But my Murli writing is never like lots of points, it's more like pictures. So I'm like a learn through the visualization, so which helps a lot. We also create the activity for children in the Avyakti children class, and that comes from all the Murli points and create into the activity for them. So it really helps them. And I also create one more homework every night is whatever the homework Mohini Didi gives, we put it in the boxes, and from the Avyakt Murli, we get the points, like serve through the Murli on that point and put it in the boxes, which helps me the best and others as well.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, one more in this group.
Yeah, Om Shanti. Like everyone was mentioning, definitely Murli is breath for Brahmin life. So one practice which we've been doing consistently from when I was there in Chicago Center is every Sunday we pick up some practice point from the Avyakt Murli, and then all the group in the class practices that point, and we share our experiences on Wednesday in the class. So that helps to actually collectively practice that point, and it's so unique that everyone practices the point in very different way and shares it in the class. So that's how we practice it.
Wow, thank you. Okay, neither is better or worse, right? They're just different ways. Okay, everybody sit down, and we're going to put it all together now. So these, already we've seen some unique aspects, right? How different people learn. And we're going to put them together into what is known as the 4 adult learning styles. And each one of these quadrants is one approach to learning, and it's just the approach we bring when we come to Baba's University. It's an approach we have developed over the 2,500 years of being in churches and temples and mosques, and we've been in schools, and so we've developed our own method for learning, really. And we come to Baba with that method. They're not better or worse, they're just unique. But the research indicates that there are 4 typical ones, and we're all moving to this, the center point, integration, able to do all. And drama tends to provide opportunities for us to learn in different ways than we're used to, because it stretches us and it makes us whole, okay? So I'm just going to name the 4, and then I'm going to give you a handout, and I'm going to let you sit with the other people who are in that same learning style group as you, so you can get a feeling and a flavor for how you're kind of similar and how that's unique from the other groups. And then we'll look at, well, what are the implications of that for you as a learner and for you as a teacher? Right? And then we'll look at Baba's churning cycle within that. So, the first group, hands up, those of you who hear the Murli through your hearts and then like to reflect throughout the day. Hands up. Oh, such a big group. Okay, this group is known as the divergers. That's the Lokik language, and this comes from 1954, David Kolb, who basically invented what we call andragogy, science of adult learning. Divergers. We as Brahmins, we would call them Baba's artists. Baba's artists and empaths. So these kinds of learners are very empathic. They love to hear stories. They learn best by hearing stories. They learn best by being in small groups and getting to tell stories and hear other people's stories. They're called artists because they tend to think outside of the box. So if you try and get them in the box, it usually doesn't work. They think in a different way. So diverger comes from, they start, let's say we're talking about this point in the Murli class or in the intro course. They will go, oh, that makes me think about this. Oh, and that makes me think about this. Oh, and that's like this. And before you know it, they're over here. And the teacher wants them to be here, but they're over there because they're divergers. They learn through association. They make associations, and so they can go very broad. They can go broad and wide and connect many different things, which is beautiful, which is why we call them artists and empaths. Enormously frustrating for others, beautiful for them. And actually, some of the finest commentaries come from these ones, because they are noticing what's on the horizon. Oh, there's a butterfly over there. Oh, and look, it's on a beautiful flower. Oh, and look, at the center of that flower is something. Oh, and that's like the soul. Right? I mean, really, they're great. They're great commentaries for the people of the world, to bring them from the world into Baba, okay? So you recognize yourself, those of you who are, okay. So the beauty of this group is the breadth, right? The associations they can make. Very beautiful. Okay. The downside is they can appear to be butterflies, flying here, there, and everywhere. And that's not really a downside. It's just beautiful and it's unique. Okay, so the next group, how many of you are listening through your intellect? Who is it? And then reflecting throughout the day. Where's our brother? I hope he puts his hand up. Jayesh, put your hand up. Put your hand up. Yeah. Okay. Are you in this group? Yes, of course you are. Okay. So this group is known as assimilators in the Lokik. Okay, I'll give you a handout on this too. But as any good teacher knows, you never give the handout before you explain it. Why is that? Because they won't listen. They'll just read. Yeah. So I'll give you the handout after. Okay? Assimilators, because they love to assimilate a lot of knowledge. They would take a Murli point and search all the other Sakar Murlis for that one point. He revealed himself so clearly in that moment. Okay? They like to go deep. They're going to start here, but they want to drill down and understand, why is this? What is this really about? So in a group, these people are always going to ask the question, why? Why is it like this? Why like that? Yep, hands up, those that are in that group again, so we can just see, look around. Yeah, these are the ones that want to go deep. They want to know, why is it like this? Okay? We call them Baba's professors. So these are the ones that are going to take something and really pull it apart and understand it fully, which gives them a great deal of confidence in the Gyan. They're not superficial in their answers. It does mean that they will ask many, 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 many questions. Yeah? But they're gonna get to the depth and the meaning of something that really matters to them, as different and unique from this, which is breadth, right? This is depth. Very beautiful. And they will bring that to the group and share usually really poignant and profound Murli points, okay? The downside of this one is that they can get stuck in analysis paralysis. A little too much thinking on this now. Just take it in, imbibe it, and use it, please. Okay? So you have to watch for that. But the beauty is such depth, okay? So next one. How many of you listen through your intellects and then want to do something practical? Hands up. Look around the room. Hands up. Michelle, you're in both? You're on the line between these two, right? I caught that. I caught that. You can't be both, but you might be on the line. So, okay. All right. So this group we call convergers in the Lokik. Convergers, because unlike these people who like to diverge and tell stories about things, these people really just want to get to the point. Let's just get to the point. Let's just bring it down to the essence, okay? And so these two are a match made in heaven or hell, and usually they get it to be service companions, just so they can drive each other crazy. But so that these ones can lighten up, you know, and look at the horizon and see there's other stuff out there. And then to pull these ones in to a little focus, okay? So it usually happens like that. Have you noticed? Yeah. Okay, so convergers, we call them Baba's engineers or Baba's designers because they love knowledge. Like an engineer has to learn a lot of really complicated, hard stuff to be an engineer. But why are they learning all that physics? They're learning it so that they can build the bridge. They actually only really care about the bridge. How useful is this going to be to me? So in a group, they're always going to ask, how do we use this? How to use. They're always going to ask questions about relevance. All they care about is this relevant to me? And if not, I have no time for it. Okay? So the professors, on the other hand, they love knowledge just because it's beautiful. It's like a lattice work of beautiful connections. They just love it. They don't have to do anything with it. These people love it because it'll build a bridge. And only because it'll build a bridge. So these are the people that'll teach the course and say, look, there's 3 main points you need to know. Okay? So they tend to be really good teachers. All can be very good teachers. They just bring a different speciality, right? But so the beauty of this is they're very essence-full. They tend to be very efficient. They like to build a structure. These two, because they're focused down here on the concept, these two would be more inclined to need to see the big picture before we get into the details. Before we jump into small groups and before we they need to have the framework. What are we doing today and why? First. And then they're happy to participate, but otherwise, they're left hanging. They actually kind of need the framework, okay? Clear? Okay. Last one, hear through the heart and want to get practical. Hands up. Those that are in the heart and the hands group, look around the room. Heart and hands. Okay? Yes? Yes? Okay. So this group is known as accommodators. Accommodators. Kind of like the power to accommodate. This group accommodates a lot of life experiences. Because the way they learn, let's say they're going to learn how to swim. The way they would learn how to swim is to jump into the pool. And then they'll figure it out. It's kind of like that. They learn by doing. When the new computer arrives, they plug it in and then fiddle with the keys, and then they get stuck and they call a friend. These people, the computer arrives and they take the manual out and they read it. And then these people plug it in and follow the steps in the manual. These people don't even know there's a manual. They probably put it in the recycle bin. Right? So when they call their friend who says, "Where's the manual?" I don't know. It didn't come with the manual. Of course it did. Okay. So these people accommodate a lot of life experiences because they learn by doing. Okay? So in a group setting, these are the people that are twitching if we're sitting too long. They need to get up. They need to try it out. They need to have practicums, right? They need to have practice settings. They need to move. They're very kinesthetic learners often. And we call them Baba's activists because they're active learners. Yeah, they can accommodate quite a bit of risk. They love risk. So that's why they're accommodators. So does that fit? Yeah. Quite opposite from these people, who very often we get paired with in service companionships. But these people happily entertain themselves privately in the library and aren't much of a bother. Right? So these people just get on and do what they want to do. So in a workshop setting, these people would be creating a lot of activities. And these people would be craving, give me some time to read, give me a few moments to digest what you just said and maybe do some writing. It's a pacing issue between these two. Okay, and these people are already on to activity number 5. And these ones are going, that first activity, there was this amazing point. Could we talk about that? They don't say it because there's a blur. Okay, so you recognize some of these dynamics? Yeah, okay. In every workshop, it's like this. Okay, so beautifully, we bring these qualities to the learning situation, and of course, we're all becoming this. So when I'm one of these, and when I did my master's, I became one of these. And, life provides lots of opportunities to do the other. You're going to see why it's so important to understand all of these, to know your speciality, claim it, own it, okay? Use it well, but learn and understand the others because you need to become more complete in your learning approach. So you get most from Murli. And you're going to see after this next activity, Baba's churning cycle includes every one of these. So you can't just be good in your own little thing, or you're not going to get a full churning from the Murli, okay? But let's start by understanding your own little thing. I'm going to ask you now to join in groups with those who are just like you in the way they learn. Ina? Would BKs become all 4 in the end in our karma teach stage? Yes. Hopefully a bit before. So we'll be good teachers. Yes. Yes. The others, I don't know what they're going to take with them, but do the styles change over your lifetime, maybe? Well, like I said, I'm this and I became this for the masters, right? And I can do this very well. I feel like I've kind of mastered a lot of them. So yeah, we want to master them all. It's not so much that they change, it's more that we grow and we encompass all of them. Yeah. We can't tell what we are, because in some situations we're more one and more the other. It kind of doesn't matter. It's just accept a tendency. It's your entry point for learning, and then we'll play with it, okay? The point is we get all of them, but let's explore them first. So, into your little groups, those who are artists over here, those who are professors in that corner, those that are engineers over here, and those that are activists over here. Join together, and when you get together, just share, does this make sense? Okay? I'll tell you in a minute. Om Shanti. So just for the next 10 minutes, if you could speak with the people in your group, how do you relate to this? Does this make sense to you? And do we have any extra pages left? Extra pages? Thank you. you all in the right group? 5 doctors. Any engineers? Om Shanti, Om Shanti. How is your conversation going? You might not have time to go around the whole circle. What I want to know is, how is it going? Are you feeling like you're in similar company? That these other people share an approach to learning that's similar to yours? And how does that feel? Belonging, connected, close. This matters very much up on this side of the room. Okay. Professors, engineers, how's it going? Really? Sorry. 3 more minutes? All right, fine. 3 more minutes. Okay, Om Shanti. You will be able to continue talking to each other. There's more to this day, but we want to make sure you get break time. So, can I draw your attention to the front of the room, where I will be standing in about a minute, okay? That gives you a minute to pay attention to the front of the room. Okay, turn your chairs. Thank you, thank you. Just turn your bodies. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, but you stay where you are, stay in your groups. That's really nice, but just so that you can see this here, okay? So how was that? Good? Interesting? Finding commonalities? Are you in the right place? Okay. Does this explain anything for you about you as a learner, about you in the Brahmin family, exposed to other teachers who maybe have different learning styles than you? Yeah? And anything, does it explain anything to you about yourself as a teacher and the preference you have for the way you convey knowledge to others? Because you will do it your way. And so if you're a professor, you might be giving a depth of knowledge that the butterflies don't really need. You know, the butterflies need to have some conversations, you know, or, you know, it's just how it is. So we want to use all of them. But what's the value of learning this about yourself personally, but about others at this time? Tolerance, understanding, accommodation from the accommodators, method, better communication, where I want to grow, no waste thoughts. Why are they behaving like that? No waste thoughts. They're just like that. Isn't it beautiful? I'm asking you first, what is the value of knowing this? Seeing the whole picture? Acceptance? Better service companions. Question. You'll know when you pay attention. You'll know. It's very obvious. They will be saying, how is this relevant? How do I use this? They will be saying, why is this important? Why are there 5,000 years in the cycle, right? You know, or they will be wanting to tell stories. And they'll feel like caged butterflies, you know, or they'll be wanting to try it out themselves. So you'll detect levels of frustration, you'll detect many different things, but the point would be, let's just teach to all of them, right? Let's expand our capacity. Okay, that's what we're doing here. That's why we're doing this. So before we go to break, I want to just share with you how this is important from Baba's perspective. So in this Murli in 1988, Baba basically said, look, here's how you have to churn the Murli. You have to start by treating Murli as an experience. Murli is an experience. And reflect back on your experience of the Murli, not just the points, your experience of the Murli. You know how in Murli when you're sitting there and you feel a little, you know, clenching in your stomach when Baba says that word sin? Okay, that happens for me. Maybe not for you. But like it's a whole experience, the Murli, right? And Baba's talking to the soul and all that is in the soul, not just to Judy. You know, so when he goes on about something in Indian bhakti and I go, I really couldn't care less. I have to stop and go, okay, I get that the symbolism is beautiful, but I also recognize I'm rejecting bhakti. Right? That's why I have a reaction. I'm rejecting it. Well, that's not really helpful for all the Indian-bodied souls that come to the center. And that's why they haven't come yet. But they will next week, because I've overcome this. Right? But I mean, Murli is speaking to the soul in all of its births. Not just Judy, right? So reflect on your whole experience of Murli, not just points. Otherwise you miss it. You miss the juicy bits. You miss the bits that are meant for your own transformation. So first we reflect, and we take time to do that the way this group would do. Tell some stories. What did you hear? What did you think? How did you feel? There was this moment I got angry. You know, this moment I just wanted to drip in love. You know, we do all that inside ourselves. Okay? First step in Murli journey. I'm being highly dramatic as an artist over here. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a professor. Okay, so then Baba said, so first thing, reflect what stood out from the Murli. But then after that, and he said, this is where everybody misses. This is where you're not getting transformation. The next step is to go, why was that important for you? Not why is it important in Gyan? Why is it important for the rest of the class to hear? Why did that stand out for you? There's some reason why it's significant for you. Because it's speaking specifically to you, the soul, and your journey and your sanskaras. So if we just go, that's my point, today I'm going to use it like this. I'll be a great little doobie. I'll be a great little bhaktiwala. In a way, point, use, point, use, point, use. This is transformation. Gyan is transformation. I have to go understand, why was that significant for me? This is where the realizations occur. Realizations transform, right? It takes more effort. Professors are very happy in this department. Very happy in that department. Butterflies are not. They would tend to go off for another nice thing. Okay? So for them it's work to go deeper. Good work. Just as for professors, it's work for them to go wide and think of the totality of their experience in Murli class, not just the point they liked. Okay? So it's work for all of us. Then Baba said, and this is where adult learning, this is David Kolb's actually creation. It's called the adult learning cycle. Experience, reflect, make meaning. So this is why. So it's called what happened? What does that mean? And now what do I do with it? What to do with it? And this is, so David Kolb created this. What to do with. Created this, so imagine my surprise. I have my master's in this, and then I meet Baba. And then I read the churning cycle. And I go, oh my God, that's why I've been studying this for 20 years before meeting Baba, and then 25 years after I get to use it for churning. So what does this mean? Why is this significant is Baba's next question. Real learning only happens if you go here. It doesn't happen here. Just here to here, that's not learning. So here's learning. Then Baba says, after you've done that, you've considered, why is that significant for you? Now think about, how are you going to use that? How are you going to use it practically in the day to serve yourself and to serve others? And that is a full churning cycle. It happens also to be the full adult learning cycle. So I was born 1959. Well, I could have been Kolb. I don't think he died then. Anyways, silly talk. Okay, then he says throughout the day, visualize. Take the experience you have pulled. Take what you have pulled through the Murli and hold it throughout the day. Visualize it, embody it throughout the day. This is where serve came from. Set an intention, create an experience, reflect, value the meaning of it, embody it. This is Baba's churning cycle. Clear? Mm-hmm.
So one point, one is going into why, and another is letting the points just sink in, like let's say through experience going deeper.
Yeah.
Does it follow similar kind of thing? And it's not asking much why, but allowing maybe the silence to have that really one.
Yeah. Yes, in the Lokik way, the analysis would be to ask why, and then why this, and why this, and why this. But in a spiritual way, it would be to ask, why is this important to me? Sit silently with Baba and let it reveal itself. But this group wouldn't ask why. This group might not ask why. Neither would this group. That's why this is so special. At the same time, this group would be so busy building the system based on the point of the Murli that they didn't stop to think about how did they feel in Murli. What were the other experiences they had in Murli? Right? Nor would these ones. The activists wouldn't be thinking deeply. Well, I mean, we all do all of these, but they'd definitely be thinking how to use it, but they might not take the time, because they're so quick to act, they might not take the time to just stop and reflect a bit wider on what was my experience in Murli. Why did I feel this way when Baba said this? And that's our direct communication with Baba. Saying, why did I feel this way, Baba, when you talked about this? It's worth exploring further. Yeah, because then I learn more about me and I learn more about Gyan. This is the way we personalize Gyan. That's what churning is. It's not making me a better, smarter parrot, right? It's personalizing. That's what imbibe really means. Take it in, make it yours, put it out through your dharna. Right? Transformation happens when I personalize Gyan, not just get really smart at saying all the points. Much more interesting to be in Murli class when we're churning. Yeah? So I'm going to ask you before we go to break, this is going to be a 2-minute drill. I'm going to ask you to stop right now, put yourself back into Murli class, which was quite recent. And just scan the horizon of your memory. What kind of feelings, what was your experience like in Murli class this morning? There will be feelings you remember, and there will be key points. Silence for a minute as you just scan the horizon. Don't make meaning, just scan. What stood out from your experience of Murli this morning? Okay, let's now do the work of why. Why did that stand out for you? What's the significance of that for you? Take a moment and just think about that. Okay, because you're hearing that Murli in the context of where you're at right now as a Brahmin, right? The last question, how could you use any of that practically? How will you use? This is not a question this group asks themselves. What am I going to do with it? So you got to stretch to get over there, right? I mean, typically, Irene. You might, but you know. Okay, so ask yourself the question, how might I use, what from today's Murli can I use practically and how? Okay. How is that? Is that satisfying? It should feel like a full meal deal, really. It should feel satisfying at all levels. Conceptually, heart, practically. It should be a fuller experience than just what's my point. Did it feel like that? Okay, so that's what Baba means by churning, doing that every day. So we're going to have a break now. After we've had a little silence now, which is lovely. As you go out the door, or as you go get your tea, Mary Jean, maybe and Margaret, or just on the counter there, you're going to get your handout of the churning cycle. Okay, so, and if we can ask 3 to stay behind and help us with chairs, go enjoy some tea, 11 to 11:30. We'll come back here and we'll sit in small groups of your practicum groups. Sit in your little practicum groups when you come back, okay? Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Different practicum.
We're staying here.
No, no. Practicum group is different or same than yesterday?
We'll give you instruction
Yeah.
at the beginning. I've got to talk to Judy about that.
And that's how I
Om Shanti. Please come and sit with your practicum groups. So whoever is your practicum group, there are small circles of 5 set up. So you can sit with your practicum people. Om Shanti. Are you sitting with your practicum people? Yes, some of you are. Find your group and come and sit. And come into silence, please. We'll come to a full stop. So let's just have a moment of sweet remembrance. Become absorbed in Baba's love. So you feel the enthusiasm bubble up inside of you naturally. Are you having any fun? Yes. Oh, that's good. We tend to learn well when we're enjoying ourselves. So learning should be fun, I think. Now, I'm looking around and realizing that the ideal group size would be 4, and some have 6, some have 5, some have 4. So this group has 6, this group has 4. Is she coming? No, not coming. So you're 4 only here. Either, yeah, one can, so we have 3 in that group or 4? 4, so we could have, and in here you just have 4? Okay. Is somebody coming or not? Don't know. So don't, yeah, okay. And brother, I think maybe this group, just so we have, or this one, that's fine. Yeah, here she goes. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, you know, this course really could be, should be a week long, and we're doing it on a weekend. because you're fast learners. But it does mean that we are moving from one to the next quite quickly. How are you doing with that? We won't know really until you start delivering and nothing was understood. No, I think you look like you're doing okay. You're doing okay? Could be a little slower. I do want to clarify something because we had many questions over the break, that it's not the quadrant itself where the question is, it's the line. So reflecting is the line. The ones who know how to do that would be these ones and these ones. Right? Making meaning, why is that significant, is this line. So both professors and convergers can do that. Right? But these can, of course, but they're less inclined. Right? How do I apply it? It's the line, it's not the quadrant. Right? So how to apply? Who's good at applying? Activists are great, convergers are great. Less so over here. Okay? And then back to the experience of the Murli. Who's good at that? These two groups tend to be naturals at just experiencing, aware of their experience. Okay? So it's not that how do divergers do both of these, it's that the questions that Baba asks sit on the, do you reflect? Do you make meaning? Do you want to do things? Have experiences. So those are the four. Is that clear? Does that help a little bit? Okay. So tomorrow morning after Murli, we will churn the Murli using this cycle. So you'll get to practice it more and more. I encourage you, the reason we cut the churning cycle in half is it fits in most notebooks. So that's a wonderful companion in your Murli notebook. So take a quick look and ask yourself those questions. After Murli, you will deepen your churning capacity and experience. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do now is we kind of made a bold choice, the facilitation team. We were going to move into powers and then come back to this for practicum. And we thought, no, let's do practicum now, because practicum is to use this practically. And then we'll do powers after tea time. Is that okay? Yeah, it would be a bit of a jumble to go back and forth. So just explaining what we're doing. So we are going to now have a practical experience using these questions, which you know are churning questions, but they're also the SERVE model, S-E-R-V-E. Reflect, what's the value or meaning of something, and how do I embody it? Different ways to say the same things, right? So how we're going to do this in a little practicum setting is that you're going to number off in your group 1 to 5, if you could do that quickly, or 1 to 4 if you've only got 4. But number off in your group 1 to 5, or 1 to 4. Number off in your group quickly. Very good. And we're going to facilitate a small group conversation, churning conversation. Not just yet. Clear? Each one of you will have 10, 12 minutes, maybe 15, to facilitate a conversation using the churning cycle. Because to be an experiential facilitator or leader or teacher, you have to be able to listen and you have to be able to ask good questions. Well, Baba's given us the good questions, so that's easy. All you have to do is be able to ask them and listen and hold the space, and don't jump in and be a teacher. That's facilitating. Pretty easy. Yeah? So we're going to give each of you an opportunity to facilitate a small group conversation. So what that looks like is you're going to ask a question. Reflect on. I'll give you the theme, don't worry. Reflect on that. And then make meaning of it, and how can you use it? You're going to ask that in a teacher situation. It looks something like this. A teacher Here we are, a little group of 5 people. Can you see at the back? A teacher would ask a question to this one would reply, and then ask to this one, and this one would reply, and all the conversation is directed to the teacher. That's what a small group, which is being teacher-led, that's what it looks like. It's basically individual interviews in a group setting. Okay, that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is a conversation. So even though I'm the facilitator and I ask the question, it's kind of like I throw the question into the group. Give everyone a couple minutes to reflect on their answer, and then we hear from each. And each one's kind of talking to everyone, to the whole group, not to the teacher. Right? And then as a facilitator, because I'm kind of keeping track of the flow, I'll throw in the second question. Give everyone a moment to think, and then we'll hear from everyone. And I might say, we haven't heard from you yet. What do you think? That's it. So when I'm facilitating, 70% of the talking is by the group. Only 30% is me. In the teacher model, it's the opposite. The teacher does 70%, and the group, if they're lucky, gets 30%, usually 5, sometimes 1, sometimes none. Yeah. So we'll know if you're facilitating when we look at the group and see who's talking most. Okay? But it's also training to be essence-full, because when you're in a small group, if you're going to be a teacher and take over the space, no one else gets to talk. So by doing this, we learn how to share space. We learn how to equalize participation. You're only going to have 15 minutes. You're going to ask one question, give everyone a chance to think, hear from each. Short and sweet, essence full. And then second question, hear from everyone. Third question, it might be a private. Okay, so, and you know the questions. Here they are. Very simple. These are Baba's questions. Don't have to write them down. We have them typed out for you. So you can hand out the questions now. First question, so I'm going to give you a Murley point from this morning, because this is a churning, learning conversation. I'm going to give you a Murley point. Person number 1's going to start. Here's their questions. Okay, group, here's our Murley point. What's your experience of this point? Stop. Let people reflect. Hear from everyone. Second question, after we've heard from everyone, what meaning does this point have for you now? After listening to everybody, what's the meaning for you of this point? Any deeper meaning? And the last question, how can you apply this practically? It's so simple. Baba's churning points, but in a group conversation, facilitated by one, which just means holding the space and keeping the questions going. Okay? May I suggest that the facilitator not answer the questions? Just this time. Normally, I might be part of the group as a facilitator, but just to speed us up, just be the one who asks the questions, not answer. Is that clear? Those that are getting their little slips of paper, you'll notice question number 3 is inaccurate. Question number 3 was typoed, so it is how can you, not how cannot. How can you apply? So if you can change that for yourself, that would be... I would save, that saved us handwriting them all yesterday. Thank you. Clear? Ina, clear? Okay. Donna, clear? A little bit? What's that? Well, how many minutes per question? Usually the first question will take 8 or 9 minutes, because you give a minute of silence to reflect, you hear from everyone. That's the juicy bit. Hearing everyone's stories, really, that's the diverger moment. It makes bonding in a group. It makes closeness. But then we're going to ask the meaning question, and then you have to stop and let people think. Give them a minute to think, because we don't want parrots. We want something new and fresh. And then in the last one, you might just take a moment of silence. Everybody think how you will use this. We might not have enough time to get the use question spoken aloud, but you can still ask it and they can sit and think about it for themselves. Don't worry if you're not getting it fully, because we're going to repeat it 4 times. It's going to be, this is a drill. This is a skill drill. You are getting training in how to be in the churning cycle, okay? Which means you're going to get really good at it by the 4th time. Once you'll be a facilitator, 4 times you'll be a participant. But you all know the process, so you'll all be helping it move along. By the 4th time, you won't even need the question to be asked. You'll just all know where to go. It's kind of the best way to be with a group, is that everybody knows, here's the flow. Okay? So, Donna, question? Everybody goes through the same 3 questions, but I'm giving you a different topic. Each one gets a different topic, and I'm going to tell you the topic now. So, Claudia, question? In each of those turns, the sense of time is 15 minutes total. So you're managing your time, 15 minutes. I'll kind of come around and, sort of show you, you should be on question 2 by now. Don't worry about it. So hands up, who is number 1 in the group? Number 1? First facilitator. Number 1? Okay. So the number 1s will begin facilitating. They will ask the 3 questions and just hold the space for a meaningful conversation. The theme from today's Murli is maintain constant enthusiasm and bring about enthusiasm in others. Facilitator number 1 is simply going to ask, everyone take a minute, what's your experience with this Murli point? You'll hear their stories. Then you're going to ask, okay, any deeper meaning? You're going to hear their answers. And then how can you use this? Okay? These clear? Time begins now. Go. Hey, no need to write anything. We're talking now. 15 minutes began a minute ago.
It's like you need a basis for whatever. Otherwise, constant enthusiasm. You could have
go off the rails.
Yeah, you could go constant enthusiasm. This is just a drama, and you're playing that part. But you need a basis for that constant enthusiasm.
On the child of God.
Yeah, constantly on the child of God. But there needs to be a basis. Otherwise,
So pick what's your basis.
Yeah,
And every day maybe we get a new one.
yeah, every day. Otherwise, it's kind of constant enthusiasm. It feels like you've got to. Yeah.
But you defined enthusiasm, as we know, it's the God of the utmost. So if I serve God all the time, I'm enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my basis.
Yeah. Right. And in that context, enthusiasm is just love, because the enthusiasm is whether you're with God, isn't it?
Right.
Constant
So that
enthusiasm
would
is
be
you're
my
always
basis.
with God. Yeah.
That's interesting. So what's your experience with this, Kate? Cover also. You got a couple minutes before we have to check it. I know.
No, but I asked him to go and ask permission for Sister Anjan. He wanted to stay in the group, but so I said no, because the sister said to him, training, so I just spoke to him and said, you know, the training started on Thursday evening, so if you're going to stay with it, you just need to get permission for sister religions and so that's fine.
Good for you. You're so good. So sharp.
Otherwise she might say, why did you make this step? You know?
Okay, you should be on question 2 by now. Are you? Question 2. Come on, move along. Question 2. You're all but.
Wonderful thing for storytelling. Wonderful. How's Ina's taking time. She's getting her.
Okay, you've got 1 minute left to finish all 3. Finished? No, you're just going to question 2. Om Shanti. So if you can stop. How many of you got through all 3 questions? Hands up. Okay, so that's good. How many of you got to 2? And you got into 2? You're actually sharing 2. You finished sharing 2. Excellent. Okay. So it's okay. We're going to repeat it 3 more times, 4 more times, so you'll get good at it. But you get a feeling for how much time needed to share the initial stories. And sometimes we actually just ask this question and don't have people share. We have them share this. Right? Think about this silently to yourself. And then what's the meaning you've made of that point? And you could start with question 2. This is the artistry of facilitation, but we're going to do them so that we get used to it. Is that okay? How were the conversations? Very nice. We should be doing this with every day's Murli, shouldn't we? Yeah, this is our life. I love this. Okay, so person number 2 is going to facilitate now. Who's number 2 in the group? So you're in charge of the 15 minutes now and the 3 questions, but you get a new Murli point. Okay? So the new Murli point is you have to finish any wasteful or negative perceptions of others. Same 3 questions applied to a different Murli point. So we can churn that as a group together. Okay, so person number 2. And in this, no need to write anything. This is talking and listening, right? Here's the question. It'll stay here. The point will stay here. Questions are here. So Donna, did you hear that? The point of the Murli is you have to finish any wasteful or negative perceptions of others. Got it? Yep. Yeah, always just give the group a minute to stop and think, okay, what's your experience with this point? So they stop and they, oh yeah, there was that person and I did this, and and then you can hear the stories, or you can ask them, yeah, do that. Just give them a minute to think and then hear from each, anything from their experience with that point. Okay? Time is now, go. Okay, hopefully you're on question 2. 3, look at that.
After lunch and break.
Yeah, because also it's like when you get to the advanced bit of the course, this is really useful for students, isn't it? The new students, but how do they, rather than trying to swallow the whole word, you take one point as you go through this process. Practical thing.
It's true. It's like an accumulation thing, isn't it? You get 1 point one thing and then
Okay, another minute to wrap up. Okay, Om Shanti. That ends this round. How many got through all 3 questions? But not racing? Comfortably? Yes. Comfortably. Racing? You're trying to make up... Okay. Fantastic. And is it satisfying? Isn't this amazing, hey? Okay, wonderful. Facilitator number 3. You ready? Hands up. Who's number 3? Number 3. You get a new Murley point, same questions, same process. Okay? Here's your new Murley point. Remember Bubba said you just have to ask for help. And Bubba will be there, he'll give extra help. But then he said you simply need power to take help. Remember that? Yeah. So, think about your experience of that and make that your focus now for your churning. Okay, your time begins now. Go. And just if you remember, this point came after the changing your perceptions of others, that you will get extra help if you need it, if you're determined. But then he said, you need power, okay, to receive help. Okay, another minute left to wrap up in your group. Faster, because you know the flow, right? Yeah, good. Okay, Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So, how was that? Very good. Thumbs up. How was that? Did you get through all 3 questions? And you're not speeding. So, efficient, effective, deep. Ha. Winning combination. Wonderful. Okay. So I think for the sake of time, we're just going to do one more. Because some of the groups only have 4, not 5. So we have, in some groups where you have a number 4 and a number 5, maybe decide between you. We just go with number 4, but if number 5 is super keen to facilitate, then number 5 can do it. Okay? Otherwise, number 5, you're off the hook. Okay? All right, so just decide who will be the next facilitator. All right, hands up. Who are the next facilitators? Okay, hands up. Every group, let's see a hand in this group. Okay, very good. All right, so here is your last theme, Murli Point to Churn, and it's this one, number 4. Do not be afraid of Maya. Things will come to make you afraid. Okay? So that's the point you're going to reflect on and draw some deeper meaning and be equipped to apply that practically, okay? So group number 4th conversation, off you go, beginning now. Okay, 5 minutes to wrap up. Okay, a minute left. Wrap up. Wrap up with your last question, if you can. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Are you finished? Yes! Did you get all 3 questions? Yes. And was it satisfying? Yes. And how do you feel as a facilitator now? Yes. Do you feel a little more confident? So, how do you feel about your group members? Ah, awesome. Yeah, and what kind of atmosphere did we create in this group? Love, respect, equality, empowering, repeating, churning. Okay. So, this is the difference. This is why we're kind of transitioning to, instead of being a big content deliverer, being a facilitator who asks good questions from the Murli, from the only one teacher. Right? Isn't that lovely? Yeah, really good. So, you should now know Baba's churning cycle really well. Yeah, to do with yourself, but to do in a little group. And as facilitators, teachers of Baba's course, you have to be good at this for yourself in order to help others. Even though in the intro course, they're not churning Murli, but you can ask questions about, okay, we just did an experience on soul consciousness. What stood out? What was your experience? And what does that mean for you now? And how can you use that this week in your life? Right? Because a facilitator makes the learning easier, more facile. Right? But whose learning is it? It's the student's learning, not mine. Right? Whose learning am I making easier? The students. I can't do their learning for them. It's theirs. I don't own their learning. It's their learning. As an instrument, Baba can use me to make their process easier, their journey easier. That's my job, right? I can't do it for them. It's their learning. Right? Just like I can't settle someone else's karma for them. Right? But as teachers, sometimes we think maybe we should. It's like their learning process is mine. I have to do it for them. I cannot. But I can ask good questions to help them. Right? So anything from all of this that stands out for you as really important, really significant, this whole morning? Yep, Claudia?
I think that for me, I know in this group, we were able to go so deep very quickly in extracting new learning from the Murli, and really, for me personally, I feel much more empowered by the Murli doing it together in this short period of time.
A lovely way to be churning Murli in whatever morning class you have, where you are, right? So easy to do and get to it quite quickly. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Shobha. Ben?
My realization and learning has been like how each one is different, and how to apply or serve them from my strengths, but then using all the three, so it comes to the full circle. So each one is unique. So learn about that and serve them as they need it.
Nice. Thank you, Shobha. Anything else stand out as relevant for you, Perla?
It gives us the opportunity to be who we are, and to also appreciate others, specialities, because we learn from everybody. What I don't have, then I can learn it from the other person, from their points of view, how they see things.
None of us are the ultimate expert on this, right? Only Baba is, and Baba can touch anyone's intellect, right? So if we listen, we can get signals anywhere from Baba, right? Anyone else? Jima?
Om Shanti. During the process of churning together, the feeling of unity, and because we were really wanting to go deeper and, to bring into, how can I bring into practice with those, and so the feeling was more unity and more respectful and going towards Baba.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was very meaningful, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. As much as we try to create spiritual relationships with each other in the Brahmin family, they tend to remain social relationships unless they're based on Gyan. So sitting to do this together really creates spiritual friendships as students, right? And unity. Thank you for that. Anyone else? One more up here. Go ahead.
I think I realized if we really understand what facilitating is, it is much easier than teaching. We lift the burden off ourselves and Baba takes care.
No, you got it. Facilitating is easier for the facilitator. You're paying attention to different things. You're not content fixated. You're flow and energy and discerning the pulse. You're focused on something different, actually. It's a more subtle service, I find.
In teaching, when we are teaching, we are not learning anything. In facilitating, we are learning at the same time.
When we're facilitating, we also get to learn. When we're teaching, we're not. Wow, boy, that's like a gold star answer, hey? Okay, they're all gold star answers, everything we've had. Okay, so how are you going to use this? How are you going to use this? How are you going to use this? With yourself and Murli. How else are you going to use this? In the courses, hopefully. Brahmin family, morning churning. Okay. Thank you. What a wonderful morning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Baba. So over to MJ for announcements.
Yes. Wow, good job, you guys. Did you realize that that was your practicum for the day? Oh! So at 4:30, we are back in this room, and we are not... Om Shanti. So this was your practicum, and at 4:30, after tea time, we're all back in this classroom, okay? For the powers. We're going to have fun with the powers. And we've invited Sister Kieran to come and talk about the powers as well. So we're going to play with the powers, and then we're going to have Sister Kieran come in and churn with us a little bit. Yes, just a reminder, like last night, we want to leave the taps in the bathrooms trickling water. Keep that going all day. I know for myself, I inadvertently shut it off this morning, and then when I went back in, I was like, oh yeah, we have to keep it going, just so the pipes don't freeze, okay? And I can't think of anything else other than let's take a minute with Baba, and then we can go for lunch.